What's it like to have a near-death experience? I survived death 3 times during a 23-day period. I was 14 at the time and had come back from a trip to India. School started. I had bought all my back-to-school clothes, pencils and notebooks. Suddenly, during history class I got a severe headache. It wasn't like your normal temple headache. It was more like the headache formed a halo on my head. It started from the forehead all the way around in a circle. I went to the nurse and took some Tylenol. The nurse called my parents and let me go home early. I went home and I fell asleep. I woke up after maybe 3 hours with a very high fever reaching 102 degrees. My parents made an appointment with my pediatrician and he said that it might just be because of the season changing. He advised me to take Motrin every 4 to 6 hours for the fever. I went home and started getting the shakes. I would be feeling extremely hot for an hour or two, and extremely cold the next couple of hours. My parents rushed me to the emergency room where they did an MRI, CT scan, blood and pee work which all came back negative. As a final resort, they did a spinal tap. The doctor who was performing the procedure was a resident. There was no senior doctor present. He poked the needle in between my vertebrae approximately 4 to 5 times, until he gave up and called his senior. His senior doctor withdrew cerebral spinal fluid and sent it off for testing. During that time, my mom told the doctor that I have all the symptoms of malaria and that I had visited India during the rainy season. The doctor agreed and said that it does look like malaria, but since they didn't have any proof, it would be unlawful for them to provide me with any medication that may cause harm to me. The CSF checked out to be negative. I was sent home with Tylenol. Once I reached home, I slept for maybe 4 to 5 hours. Once I woke up, I was burning in a fever and was hallucinating. I kept yelling at my parents to stay away from me because I thought they were going to hit me on the head with a remote control. I fell asleep after 5 minutes of hallucinating. After waking up, I was totally normal and got up to go to the bathroom. As soon as I stood up, I started to walk as if I was drunk. I was not coordinated. I got to the bathroom but could not pee. I was rushed to the ER again, where they inserted a tube through my urethra to remove the urine from the bladder. I'm sure men can imagine how painful that would sound without numbing, which I didn't have. I was transferred via ambulance to Hershey Medical Center. I was sent to get more testing done like an MRI which showed something in my neck, they assumed. During that time, I was having very small seizures which I was not treated for. I was taken in for a spinal tap, which resulted in me having a major seizure, respiratory and cardiac arrest. They declared me dead on the spot. They still paged Code Blue and called all the ICU doctors in the room to perform CPR. My mom was in my room speaking to a social worker when my nurse came running to her and screamed, "If you want to see your daughter for the last time, you better come with me." My mom is a healthy woman and she never runs, she just can't. My mom, dad, auntie and uncle ran like anything. They threw their phones away and literally pushed people to get to the testing room. There, I was laying braless and topless on the examination table where they were giving me electric shock to my heart. The resident who performed the spinal tap came out and faced my mom. My mom grabbed her shoulders and shook her violently and screamed, "What have you done with my daughter, you bloody Pakistani? You're taking revenge because we are Indian and you are Pakistani. How dare you?" Every doctor there, utterly shocked. My dad took her to the side and made her calm down. Fiza, the resident who performed the spinal tap, was crying and said, "Mrs. Modi, I didn't do anything to your daughter. She was laughing and talking about her life, school, and you. We don't know what happened. We weren't prepared for this." My mom looked at her with furious eyes. After 3 electric shocks, and 7 minutes without oxygen, they revitalized my heart but could not get my breathing back.